For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sean Franklin. I'm proud to be a newly anointed Mordhau instructor. Kyle, Brittany, and I go way back. I'm originally from Vancouver, part of Blood Iron Martial Arts with Brittany. There I had a number of roles, but one of them was the head coach of the fight team. So in addition to being a very experienced tournament competitor myself, I've won medals in a lot of weapon sets. I also spent a lot of time coaching the other fight team athletes, and basically trying to get the best performances out of them. I've done a lot of work with Brittany. Kyle and I have been rivals for a long time, going way back. Now, however, I'm a broken old man. I can't fight so much, so I just kind of sit out here and think of ways to make all of you people better. And that is how we're segueing into today's class. So my background is in kayaking. That's where I grew up in the Canadian sports system. They have a very formalized coaching education system. That's where I came from. And they're really big on teaching fundamental movements that generalize across sports. And that's something I'm really interested in HEMA, trying to break down. Okay, we can, read the glosses, we understand the techniques, that's what you were doing last night. But what does that mean in terms of your body? Because your body doesn't speak historical German, your body doesn't speak modern English, it just understands movements, and how can we train our body to move in a way that will let us do these historical techniques? And then now a lot of us are stuck at home. We don't have access to the same training space we would, and that produces an additional challenge. But if we're focused on the movements rather than the specific technique, it opens up some doors for us. So I don't know what everybody's training space is. As you see behind me, this is about all I have available to me, which is not a lot. But fortunately, we can get some good work done here. And I want to say, don't hesitate to use your microphones, because I want to make sure everyone's getting the drills and everything that I'm presenting. So this is going to be we're going to be moving, but it's also going to be a lot of information imparted to you that I want you to be able to use on your own. So I'm going to be posting class notes after this is over. So I'm presuming that everyone came here to actually do stuff rather than just listen to me talk. So we're going to start off getting warmed up a little bit. So about mid-frame here, some arm circles. And if everybody's just sitting on their computer watching me and no one's doing anything, you should probably let me know. Both arms backwards. Left. Switch forward. Both arms forwards. Right arm only forward. Okay, now we're going to kick the left arm in backwards. This is normally the time I get to enjoy laughing at everyone as they struggle to do this. Unfortunately, I'll just have to imagine. Switch directions. Okay, some leg swings. See if you can do these freestanding to work on your balance. So good. Watching the monitor off the peripheral vision doesn't help. And work on hamstrings. So we're going to touch twice in the front, 1, 2, twice in the back, 1, 2. Okay, back up. Hip rotations. Switch directions. Don't know if all my cracking joints were coming through on the audio. Who's following along? Who's actually doing exercise? I want you to talk so I don't feel like I'm shooting an aerobics video.
I am.
Yeah, it's definitely been a long time since I've done any of this, but feels good. It's a little weird.
But trust me, it feels extra weird because I'm just watching myself do it on the monitor. Okay, so now one thing we can do very easily without equipment is footwork. Okay, now a lot of footwork is very contextual. What are they doing? What are we doing? How to react? There's a limit to how much you can train your footwork by just doing steps over and over and over again. At some point, it doesn't help you. What can help you is identifying the muscle motions, because when you step, you want to do it in a very specific way. And when someone's swinging a sword at you, you don't have time to think about it. Not at all, even if you're going slow. So this can be time to think about some of the fundamental movement patterns involved in a step. Now, has anybody here heard of something called the triple extension?
I'll take that as a no.
Yeah, I'm going to take that as a no, which is what I expected. So when you want to move anything with your body, the way you can get maximum force and velocity is moving from big muscles to small muscles, which is when we're, say, throwing something, we're going to go from our core, it's going to go up, we're going to use the shoulder, then the elbow, then the wrist. When we're stepping, it's a similar concept. So the triple extension means glute, quadricep, calf. So this fires first. So when the glute fires, it moves this. Okay. When the quadricep fires, it does that. But when the calf fires, it does that. So as all three things happen, we move forward. But rather than firing them all at once, we want to go 1, 2, 3. And so it's a little hard to visualize because when I say 1, 2, 3, it's just in really fast succession. But you go 1, 2, 3. Okay? So right now, we're just going to work on basic passing steps, focusing on that triple extension, okay? 1, 2, 3. Try and feel the muscles activate in order. Okay? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You'll notice I'm popping up when I'm doing this because I'm trying to do it slow. Ideally, I'm maintaining my same height as I move. 1, 2, 3. This is normally the time where I walk around the class and correct everybody. We can only do so much for that. Also, I have pretty severe knee injuries, so when it comes to footwork, do as I say, not as I do, because I'm actually very poor at doing a lot of these things. So don't take the listen to the description more than watch how I do it, because I'm definitely no role model when it comes to footwork. Yes. So that triple extension is going to come into play no matter which direction we're moving. It's always the fastest way to move. Okay, so we've done our passing step with the triple extension. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to do the same thing going backwards. Pushing 1, 2, 3. It's a little harder to grasp going backwards, all right? But it's the same principle. We want to be generating, and ultimately, you see it flows down, and then on the floor is ultimately where the force ends up. So you start pushing here. If you don't like to think of 1, 2, 3, you can imagine the force flowing down your leg and into the floor. Flowing down the leg and into the floor. We're backing up. Now switch legs. Try it from the right leg forward, backing up. I'll try for a few minutes. I'll stop demoing my knee cert. Okay, we can take a break now. So we don't just use this for passing steps, as I said, every step. Now, I'm going to talk a bit about the lunge. Now, you probably haven't dealt with this a whole lot because in KDF, we don't use a razor lunge. My little mini apartment sort, we don't see, a full-on, that's not really a KDF thing, okay? However, that doesn't mean you don't use a step that is longer than normal but is not a lunge, aka a lunge. If I cut to this position, I can roll and throw another cut. I'm still in a stable stance. This is fine, okay? Obviously, we're not doing crazy stuff like that, but it's a good opportunity for us to work on that triple extension concept in a different way. So from here, I'm going to do the same triple extension, but just push myself a little bit forward. 1, 2, 3, boom. 1, 2, 3, boom. Okay? So give that a try. For a minute while I sit here awkwardly. I should play music next time or something. Or I can prepare, video myself doing it once and just slice it in over and over and over again while I sit down. Now, other side. Same deal. Push a force flow down your leg and into the ground. Boom. We're in a nice, stable position. One of the guidelines I like to use is do your step, do whatever crazy footwork, land, and say, okay, can I grapple from this position? If you stop yourself at any given point, you should feel, somewhat comfortable. Okay, if I start wrestling from here, it wouldn't be too bad. If I'm doing something, I'm transitioning through here, I'm thinking, okay, I like my cut here, but would I feel good grappling from here? No. probably not the smartest place to be, okay? So once again, still with the left foot, push all the way through, boom, stable position. Do I feel good grappling from here? Yeah, pretty much. I'm still very solid. Okay? And we're just gonna keep doing those for a little bit. Hope everyone's in great shape, having not been to practice in forever. Okay, good. Moving on. Two very important parts to the lunge, we've only done one of them. Okay, this would normally be where I ask you a question, and then see if anyone knows the answer, but I'll just assume none of you know the answer. Skip that step. When we lunge, boom, we're here. The next important part is to get back to our normal stance. Well, one way is to just suck the foot back, which is not good for reasons we'll get into later. But as we're doing triple extension, how do we think we're going to get backwards? Imagine everyone's got their hand up and they're saying triple extension. From here, same thing. Just like I was pushing backwards here, I'm in my extended position, I'm going to push backwards here, okay? We're pushing with the leg. Boom. Full triple extension, 1, 2, 3, or force flowing into the floor, whichever makes more sense to you. Okay, now we're going to switch. Other leg. Boom. Triple extension from here, pushing back. Boom. Boom. Like so. Okay. And now we're going to do something completely different, but not really. Triple extension, forward with both feet, triple extension, backwards with both feet. Now, it's, I think someone commented, but I don't have that window up. Well, okay, backwards with both feet. So I'm going to count them out. We'll see if we do them together. See if that's more of you. It's not going to give you a chance to talk. Forward, 1, backwards, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Now I'm going to slow down. We're going to take the time to think of these a little more thoroughly. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And there's a couple extra because I switched from double counting to single counting. Okay, switch your front rear foot. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. Okay. And take a break. So before we move on, just a little feedback. How's this working for you? Is there anything you had questions on that before I go further, or did that drill format work for you? And did anyone guess why I was spacing out the timing so much on that last one?
So I did actually just have one sort of clarification question.
Yep.
So with that triple extension, that's all describing motions that are happening before your foot leaves the ground, right?
Correct. Yes. Once your foot leaves the ground, you can't exert any more force. So it's kind of a meaningless moot point then.
Right. Okay. And then to answer your question, my guess would be to sort of prevent us from getting into a sort of rhythm where we could get sloppy.
Yes, there's a more deep. That's the phase 1 correct answer, absolutely, and there's a more specific reason, which I'm going to explain next. Anyone else? People are no fun. Okay, so we're going to talk about falling into steps, okay? So the human body works basically by constantly falling. So if we're standing, okay, we're standing upright like this, well, okay, now what direction can my legs exert force on? Well, just straight up. If I'm standing straight up, that's the only way they can push. So I can jump from a standstill. I can't move forward because there's no way for me to push forward, okay? So what the body does is we lean forward, and if I'm standing like this, okay, if I go like this in my phone, I lean it over, what's going to happen? It's going to fall. Well, what do I have to do to keep it from falling? This is harder than I thought. Right? Harder than I thought when I'm using the back of my hand, right? As it's going, I have to keep it from falling. If I push the bottom, right, I can now push sideways, and I just basically keep chasing it. That's how the human body moves. So if I'm here, I start falling forward, I catch myself, and then I just keep. That's how we walk, that's how the human body wants to move. It's efficient if we're just walking, but if we want to change directions quickly, it is not efficient, okay? And that's a problem we're removing. So from here, often what a lot of people do, it's especially common in lunges, some people call it gravity lunge, is I lean and then fall into it. Now the actual speed once we get going isn't the problem. The problem is we have to wait until we're falling to actually go anywhere, okay? So, and what happens if I'm here and I decide I don't want to go? Very difficult to change direction, right? If I'm here, I'm fully in control of my motion until I go. If I'm falling, I have very little control of how far I go, okay, when I go, or to change, go a different direction. So we don't want to fall into our steps, which is hard because we've literally trained our entire life to fall into our steps. Okay? So that's another thing to think about when we're doing our footwork. So we've already drilled the heck out of this, but not really because we didn't actually do that many numerically speaking. But if I'm doing a triple extension, it kind of fixes that problem, okay? A close second to falling into the steps is what I call slinking. So if I want to back up, I should be pushing triple extension, boom. What I don't want to do is this, that's slinking. Because in this first step, where has my body moved? Which is now a rhetorical question, but the answer is nowhere, all right? As I slink that foot back, I haven't removed myself from whatever was threatening, all right? It's only now that I start becoming safe. If I push here, my body moves as soon as I go. All right? And the objective is to get us safe as soon as possible, so slinking that foot back doesn't help at all. You don't often see it as kind of technically a lunge would be kind of slinking forward, but even then I don't go here. And then forward is not as natural to do it on the forward steps, so you don't see it as much. It's mainly in the don't do it going forward. We're not going to cover that as much in drills because if you're doing the triple extension, it kind of takes care of it. Where this gravity lunge problem starts to appear is the triangle step. So we all know and love our triangle steps. Boom. Well, if I'm here, how do I get there? How do I push? What's going to push? It's very difficult. If I'm here, push, push. Here, it's much more difficult. And what does everyone do? Lean and then go. Take that pile of unread books, lean, and go, okay? Have you ever been doing, say, a hanging parry drill? Boom, boom, and you go up and your partner flinches and you kind of go like that? Why? You were used to falling into your step, okay? So we're going to use the same concept, pushing in the direction we want to go, and we're going to turn the front foot slightly. So right before I decide I want to go that way, I'm just going to push, pivot here, okay? Like this. Now I can push sideways. So rather than here, giving a little lean and then trying to go, I'm just directly pushing. Pushing. Here, I can now push against the floor, which propels my body that way. Pushing. 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 Okay? So let's give that a try. I'll count them out because I'm bored. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you felt when I slowed the rhythm down that you probably means you're leaning into your step too much rather than generating the and choosing to push off on my cue. Try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we didn't do a lot of these. I'll get to that later. The idea is you start thinking a little more about where your force is coming from, where you're stepping. Because when you're in practice, you have a sword, you're doing a drill, you're focusing on covering the line, you have no hope of thinking about this, okay? So we'll use the time where you're stuck indoors and can't do any activities with your partners to focus on, rather than what's going on out there, focus on what's going on in here, okay? Good. Now, everybody grab a glass of water and then we'll move on to the second part. Also, so I said we don't need swords, and I have all of these drills working with no equipment. However, some of them, we can do a more advanced version. If you have, say, a dowel, a sword will also work. Our favorite elastic band for the knees. And something you can hold in your hand that balances. You know, a ball can work, but it's not the greatest. You know, this is just like a dish. So you can get some water, and if you have those things convenient, and any feedback or anything. I want to hear the people talk who I haven't heard talk yet. A good start. A good start.
Hi.
Hi. That's something. It's better than nothing. I don't feel like I'm shooting a YouTube video anymore. A very low budget YouTube video.
Yeah, it takes a little getting used to trusting that so.
Yeah. I'm also very used to abandoning my lesson plan halfway through and based on what I'm seeing everyone doing, and then just being like, oh no, look, they're doing this, so I think this will make more sense now. And this might be the first time I've actually gone properly through my written lesson plan in years, which is infuriating to my desire to tinker with things. Okay, everybody who isn't back yet, be sure to speak up. So now, going on the fundamental movements thing, we're going to go through a series of drills. I'm going to explain what to do, and I'm not really going to explain why we're doing them. And there is a master plan behind all this, but for now, just do as I say, okay? And some of these will seem very simple and trivial, and that's purposeful, okay? So, first drill, we're going to stand about shoulder width apart, okay? We're going to hold our hands out directly in front of us, together. I don't care what you do with them, whatever, okay? Thumbs up though, like not like this. And from here, we're just going to rotate while keeping our hands in the center of our body. Brittany recognizes where this is going. She's done this so many times, she probably never wants to see it again. Okay. Now the important part is I always want to keep centered. Okay. That's the key to my strong structure, which I'm very well sure you've all been thoroughly instructed on before. Okay. And focus on all the muscles in your side here, okay? Keeping them nice and strong and bringing the elbows in so you have a nice tight position, okay? Rotating everything together. See if you can engage the core as much as you can. Now, those are kind of just words right now because it's very easy to do this without engaging the core, okay? So that was phase one, pretty easy. Seemed just a little weird, okay. Next drill. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold one arm out, okay? I'm going to take the other arm, is also going to be out, and I don't care what the hands are doing. And we're just going to rotate a big circle, keeping both arms straight and touching the elbows. This arm does not move. Boom. Rotate around, boom. Nice big circle, okay? None of this. All right. Let me get more in frame back here. Boom, big circle. So the arm is still in front of me, it's not beside me. Okay. Now we're going to switch arms. And you don't have to keep your hand balled up in a fist, I don't care. Okay, so that was that. Next, you're probably all sick of hearing, don't collapse your knee, don't collapse your knee, don't collapse your knee. We'll be a little proactive now. From here, we're gonna bend the knees slightly, okay? And we're gonna be rotating back and forth. You don't have to keep your arms out, I don't care. But we're gonna move our knee opposite to our direction of rotation. So when I go this way, I'm gonna rotate this knee out. Okay, and what you're going to use is your glutes. So muscles here, the side of your butt, that's what's going to turn this leg out. Okay, so we're going opposite to our rotation. And make sure you go back to center. None of this like, oh, no matter what. Okay, it's actively going like this as you're rotating against it. Okay. Okay, moving on. Next one's nice and simple. We'll go forward. We're gonna roll our palms all the way up, really push the pinkies down. I'm very unflexible, so this is like the absolute max for me. You can probably get more. We're gonna do some arm swings. Side to side. Alternate which one goes over top. You'll notice that I've already cheated that I'm here. This is because I'm like, literally, this is my range of motion. You be better than me, do as I say, not as I do. Now we're going to start changing the height. So same thing, try and keep your palms up while being low. So you have to bend the elbows slightly, that's okay. Pull up high. Palm up, and when I say palm up, I'm not so focused on doing this to keep your palm up as making sure the palm is rotated, okay? And start sweeping up and down slowly. Okay, good. That's gone through set number one. So we're moving on to set number two. The exercises are going to modify them. We're going to use a little more equipment. If, for instance, you don't have something that I'm mentioning, just do the same thing that we did in set number one. Okay? Now, for this next one, all it requires is assume that you all have walls in proximity. If not, good job on getting your internet connection running. So from this position, now we're going to have a little bit of resistance, okay? Now you're going to want a corner or something to push against. I don't have a corner in my field of view, so I'm just going to kind of demonstrate on this wall here. All right, so I'm in this position, and now I'm going to push against it, okay? Rotating against it. What I don't want to happen is if I'm here and I rotate against the wall, you see my shoulders, it precisely lined up my webcam here. I don't want to see that my shoulders rotate. All right, I've got a little bit of rotation in the shoulder, but the arm is locked. Okay, so instead, everything is together, and you should really feel it here. switch sides if you've been pushing on that wall one entire way. Okay. Just alternate which side you're pushing on about once every 10 seconds. The objective here is to feel the force going all the way through your body, okay? Even though you're pushing, probably don't just push on your wrist, push on your forearm on the wall. You're pushing, you're feeling the force being transmitted through your entire body, so all of this is that same lock structure we did that was just free floating in the air, but you couldn't really tell if you're doing it right. Switching back and forth every 10 seconds. Okay, moving on to the next one. So, we did this drill, okay? Now, we're going to do it with stick. So holding our stick, which I call this an overlock grip, okay? My hand is just very relaxed. I have a ridiculous amount of room to move, okay? Also, when you do this, you're going to end up with like some, that's fine. So from here, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to keep one arm straight, and the other arm rotates around. You'll notice that this wrist kind of does something wonky. That's fine, I don't care. But the important part is that I'm not moving this arm, okay? If I'm doing kind of like this type of stuff, that's not the purpose of the drill. You can also try it with the grip the other way around. That's not super concerned. The important part is one arm is not moving. If you have a video feed very easily, because I can see my fist is now in front of my shoulder, okay? Boom. I don't want it to be moving from in front of my shoulder. Okay, other side. Boom. Boom. So I don't do this on my left hand very often. Okay, good. So now, back to the rotation drill. From here, rotate and go against it. Okay. And for the next one, okay, we're going to be keeping the hand palm up, and this will be interesting because the glass is actually full of water, and I've never actually practiced it like this. We're going to rotate all the way across our body and pass it off to the other hand. Boom. Keeping the palms up. Okay, now we're going to go back, rotate all the way around as far as we can go, pass it off to the other hand. Back. Boom. Okay. And there's still water all over myself. Bound to happen. As I said, I really have a movement impingement. this. So the objective is I don't want to be doing something like this, passing off in front of me, okay? That's not the drill. I want to keep that hand flat and get as far across my body as I can. Okay? So passing back and forth with the palm up, okay? Okay, good. So that was round 2. Now we're going to go round 3, okay? So round 3, we started with, I'm forgetting what we started with. Okay, yeah. So we did the wall push exercise, okay? Now we're going to change it up. I want you to vary the heights that you're pushing on the wall. So let's start up here and try and maintain that solid structure while you have the hands up. It's going to be much more difficult. This is your strongest position, okay? This is going to be a weaker one. So same thing, pushing on with one side. I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch sides, hands high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now rather than hands up, we're going to do the same thing with hands low, pushing against the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. After that, now we're going to go back to our trusty stick, and remember, if you don't have anything, we can just work on this drill. Okay? We're going to be now rotating around the center, okay? But as we rotate, rather than just holding it in this oarlock grip, we're going to do a grip switch here. Okay, boom, boom. So as I'm going, my hand slides over, boom. If any of you are wondering, flag waving is technically part of HEMA. There are historical manuscripts which include sword fighting and flag waving in them. Not any KDF ones unknown that I know about, though. There could be some out there. Okay. So, moving on to the next step. So, you're probably all familiar with the elastic band around the knees, okay? We're going to put a different spin on it. So when I'm standing like this and I have an elastic band between the knees, it's pulling at an angle, okay? I want to resist this way, but if it's on an angle, it's also a lot of force this way, which, given my stance, I'm very strong. That's no challenge at all. So instead, we're going to pull the knee directly sideways. So you can wrap the elastic band around something solid. You might not have that in range right now. Or you can use your sword / stick, provided you're okay with digging it into the floor wherever you are. Okay? So from here, I'm just going to step out sideways. And now this is really trying to collapse my knee. Okay? And I'm going to use this hand, the hand of my knee side, and I'm just going to rotate my hips as if I'm throwing a cut, while resisting the effect of this pulling in, okay? Naturally, the more tension I put on this, the more difficult it is. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch sides. My other leg. 1, 2, 3. And if you don't push down hard enough, that's what happens when you start focusing on your knee too much. If you have a deck or something you can mount, that's the ideal. Don't try and mount it onto a chair leg or a table leg or the spindles of your deck. You'll probably snap them off if you pull too hard. Okay. Moving on. This is a fun one for those who have a lack of mobility. Or hold your magic object, whatever it is, in your hand, palm up. Then I'm going to roll my arm all the way to the other side without dropping. The objective is I want to be quick, okay? I can do a big circle like that, but that's not what I want. Ideally, I'm going to cheat. I just do that, okay? That was just me cheating because I'm actually just holding it right now. But the idea is I want to have as quick of a turnover as I can, okay? If you cheat a little bit with your fingers, it's not the end of the point. This is just a focus to think about doing this turnover quickly. Okay? I hope someone has dropped this by now, but I'm not getting to enjoy it. On the other side, which I probably will drop this. Do it better than I'm doing it right now. Okay. Moving on. Round 4. Okay. We're going to go back to pushing the wall. Hands high. But we're going to be in stance now. Proper stance. Boom. However, because going like this way is too easy, we're going to go the opposite way we could normally go. Both ways are good to train. I'm making you the harder one right now. So from here, up, 1, 2, keeping everything centered. Remember, we don't want structure. 3, 4, 5, 6. Not counting the seconds I skipped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Moving on. Back to our stick. Now, before we were doing the grip switch within the center, now we're going to go back to pivoting around one arm, okay? Boom. This hand is just in the overlock. We only have to do one grip switch. Okay, boom, 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 boom. So doing the grip switch on one arm as we come through here. And once again, it can be, depending on what you're doing, I don't care which way you hold the stick in the hand, that doesn't. Okay, so here, roll up, grip switch. And the other hand, boom, keep his hand right in front of the shoulder.
Brittany says she likes the stick thing.
Don't do what I just did and let the hand cross over. That's why having this a mirror, or as I'm discovering now, a video is helpful. Also, when you're crossing over, do not do a multi-finger crossover where you're kind of doing something like this, okay? Just do the whole thing. Okay, I don't care about the exact details of how you're doing it, just don't try and like walk your fingers over. Because I have reasons, okay? Okay, next, we go back to the elastic band around the knee. This time, we're going to hold it with the opposite hand. You can't really see what my hips are doing because they don't show up on camera, but I'm getting a ton of movement of my hip right now. You can probably see by how much I'm twisting my back leg. The more hip rotation, you can get, the better. Like so. Okay. Now moving on. So and watch as you keep doing it, you'll find yourself cheating more and more, squeezing your fingers, much like I am now. Don't. Other side. And there we go. Okay. So that's all 4 sets done. So, now to wrap up and give you a little bit of insight, but not too much. So when it comes to learning motions, doing what's called block training is a relatively inefficient way to do it. We tend to do it a lot because it makes sense for modern schedules. And what block training is doing it a whole ton of times in a row, okay? So you say, I'm going to hit the PAL 1,000 strikes. What would be much more efficient is to hit the PAL 10 times in a day for 100 strikes than to do 1,000 strikes in a row. The number of contact point times is much more important than just racking them all up in a row, which can be problematic because you only go to class, once or twice or 3 times a week, and you're there, you want to get as many in as you can, and then you don't do it. But if you're constantly trying to work exercises in, your body will learn the motions much more effectively. It's a problem because most of your workplaces probably don't want you carrying around swords. Some people might be lucky, but I'll count them in the minority. So if we can think of movements or even at home exercises we can do that train us fundamental motions, and then we can just kind of do them constantly through the day in small chunks, a minute or two here, a minute or two here, a minute or two here, we can greatly accelerate the learning process from our body's point of view. Because it doesn't matter if you understand something up here, your body has to process it into, a series of neural impulses that will get you where you need to be going. So breaking it down into movements can really help you because you can start incorporating them just tiny bits here and there every day. Like, if you're sitting at your desk, remember the core engagement? Well, once you get the feeling of that, I can just be sitting in my office desk sometime, typing, take a little break. Same thing, and just incorporating all this stuff in, just kind of like, this drill. Maybe I don't want to be sitting at my desk doing it, but I can just kind of be sitting here. You can't see my hand because it's above, but just kind of, and trying to do them all the time. And if you're working from home, and you're on a meeting and it's on a video meeting, well, there's tons of time to get drilling done. Not that I would ever attend a meeting with a sword sitting right beside me on my home office desk. So that is kind of the background to why we're doing these motions in the last half that I broke down. Now, as to why I did all those weird things which don't seem to have any connection to sword fighting. Well, would you believe I actually sat down with the Hauptstück and came up with that list from the Hauptstück? I'm going to assume you're all saying yes and you're wowed by how awesome I am because I have no evidence to the contrary. So now I have a little bit of homework for those of you who are familiar with the Lichtenhauer glosses. If you were just being introduced with the last couple sessions that Kyle's been doing, this might be a little hard, but you're encouraged to try, is to go through the Hauptstück and try and figure out which of these exercises maps to which Hauptstück. And I'm telling you, it's not a one-to-one relationship. There's connections all over the place. And try and figure out which of these techniques. So that's class for today. I definitely want to hear any questions you have on this, any feedback. This is literally the first time I've ever done a class over video. So it's it's a relatively new experience for you, but it's a completely new experience for me. So definitely any feedback, any questions you have, whether it's now or you can, message me later or whatnot. I'll be posting notes to this. I have them typed up. I'll just kind of move them over, and then you'll have a link shortly to some of the core concepts we did in the last set of exercises. Everybody unmute your mics.
Yay, good job, Sean.
Thank you.
Yippee.
I was wondering if you're going to be posting this video as well. So you said you were recording it at the beginning of the session.
Yes, I am recording this video, so I will find a way to get it uploaded somewhere.
Cool, sounds good. Thank you for teaching me all of my muscle imbalances. I definitely needed to be reminded of that.
Yeah.
Good job, Sean.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same without watching you struggle. Everyone struggled with all the exercises, but
Very good. All right. Well, if nobody else has questions, thanks, Sean. We'll coordinate for your next one.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Sean.
And yeah, feel free to hit me up with questions anytime about the stuff I presented now, or basically any other HEMA related stuff. I am more more now instructor, just like Kyle and Brittany, so I can also answer questions if you want a different perspective or whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, and we totally encourage you guys to get in touch with Sean as well, because he's very knowledgeable and can answer questions probably better than I can on some of the academic stuff, but definitely utilize him. You have him at your disposal.
Cool. Sounds good. All right, I'm going to head off. Thank you again, Sean, for teaching class, and I'll look forward to more sessions from you.
Yep.
This was good. I'll be back for the next one for sure.
Very good.